Aren't you glad that you patiently waited? Carl is back. He is in the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio, and you are with him. Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups.
All right, welcome back, Gulf Coast. Welcome back, America. Carl Gallup sitting here, and Brandon, the Big B, with us, and our guest, Mike Shoesmith. Hey, Mike, listen, I saw an article not too long ago that just knocked my socks off, because this article admitted what you and I have been screaming, I suppose, ever since P.P. Simmons was founded, and long before that, but I mean, once we had a big voice and a big microphone, so to speak, we've been screaming this, that so much of the so-called evolution science is just gibberish. It's garbage. It's scientific gobbledygook. And now we have an article that admits, and I'm going to let you tell the story, but apparently hundreds of scientific articles in scientific journals were really nothing more than gibberish gobbledygook, and it's been exposed. Tell our audience about this.
Well, if it was just one article published in this so-called scientific journals, that would be, I guess, excusable.
Yeah.
And they've caught it, and they deleted it, and we're sorry. And if it was 10 articles, we might go, well, that's a little iffy, but yeah, I guess we can let that slide. But now it has been discovered that hundreds of papers published in established scientific journals, hundreds of them, over the last few years, have been found to be frauds created by nothing more than an automated word generator that puts random, fancy-sounding words together in plausible sentence structures. As a result, they've been pulled from the journals. The fake papers are in the fields of science and math. Now, come on. Now, you and I have been saying, Carl, undoubtedly, you've been in the arena of ideas here for so long, longer than I have. You've undoubtedly heard the people say, well, look, Carl, if you're so smart about evolution, why don't you write a paper and send it into the peer-reviewed science journals? Well, first of all, we're saying that the atheists are not our peers.
That's right.
If you look up the dictionary definition for peer, atheists ain't one of them.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly why I don't send any articles to them. That's right. Go ahead.
Right. And when you and I actually look at these scientific articles, so-called, and we scour them, and we read them, and we study them, and we go, okay, does this make any sense? Does it make sense that just because bacteria become bacteria, that fish became men? Has this article now made sense of that? And you and I have been saying for years, no article has ever been published that makes sense of any of that.
No, I know.
That finches have different sized beaks, therefore fish became men.
Right. It's right. Exactly. We talked about that last week. It's gobbledygook, but it's passed off as science.
And we've been saying this for years. Now, people are saying, well, how come you don't publish? If you have proof against evolution, as if proving a negative is even possible, if you make an assertion, the burden of proof is on you, not on us.
Right.
All we're saying is give us evidence that fish became men.
That's right.
Prove that it didn't.
And by the way, I wrote a book refuting that and put it on the public market called Magic Man in the Sky, and it was peer-reviewed by real scientists with real credentials. They found nothing wrong with my scientific statements, and by the way, usually if something like my book comes up, there's usually whole websites dedicated to refuting it. To this day, and my book's been out for years now, not a single website dedicated to refuting the science in my book. And there you go.
Most scientists disagree with you, though, Carl.
Oh yeah. Well, I know. Most scientists. Yeah, I understand. Well, good gracious, man, I had something on my mind that was so brilliant and it just went through my mind.
That's called the argumentum ad populum fallacy. That just because most people say it, that makes it true.
Right.
That is a logical fallacy.
Right.
And now we know that just because articles appear in these so-called, and at the end of this article here, what it's saying is that this is an indictment against the science community as a whole.
Yeah.
That they're just not taking this seriously anymore.
Right.
And if you're not being published in these articles, you can't get grants.
Right.
You can't you can't become a welfare scientist.
And now we find out that these journals are filled with fraudulent, fabricated articles. Mushy science.
Hundreds of them.
Hundreds, not one or two, not 10 or 20, but hundreds with an S. Hundreds of these articles. And see, you and I have been pointing that out for years. We'll read these things, we'll go through them, we'll compare them to scientific method science, and you and I scratch our heads. We make videos, we put them on PP Simmons, they go viral, and people laugh because they realize this is called science. This is mush. This is pseudoscience. But the evolutionist would write back and make fun of us and say, "Oh yeah, well, why don't you submit a paper for peer review?" And and now we find out we were right all along. These articles were farce.
And the people who discovered this are saying that this is fraud.
Right.
This is fraud. And this is why you and I have been saying for years that people who take money to do these so-called scientific experiments should first and foremost be subject to a lie detector test.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. That's great. They should be subjected to a lie detector test. Mike said that some years ago. That's a brilliant idea. Folks, listen, we've got to take a time out, and when we come back, we're going to have Dr. Grace. We're going to bring Mike Shoesmith on next week again. What a great guy. We really enjoyed being with him. And then, Brandon, you got some good stuff for us at the bottom of the second hour, right?
Yeah, we're going to dive into some interesting topics the last 30 minutes.
I know we will, and we'll open up the phone lines as well. Folks, you're listening to Freedom Friday. Carl Gallups here, Brandon Gallups as well, and Mallory Bardwell. We'll be right back after this time.